You got to love that aerial shot of the Florida Gulf Coast here along the beaches in the Naples-Fort Myers area. It is absolutely breathtaking each and every time you come to Naples, Florida, and should be a match that might take your breath away as we have the men's senior pro gold medal match. And Barry Waddell, who is a resident here locally in the Florida area, Dave Weinbach, who will let you know right away that he is from Wisconsin. There's a look at Brian Staub. Brian was actually in the role of Melissa McCurley and Mark Renison in the very first Minto U.S. Open Pickleball Championships here in 2016. Had a chance to work alongside Brian. Quite a character. In fact, I was just reading a bio on Brian. I was going to say to you, Melissa, that I'd love to see some bio pages get added to pickleballtournaments.com with some of the information, some of the fun side, add some of the color of the players as well to the stats and their accomplishments. But Brian was asked if he has a pre-match ritual, and he said yes, drinking mustard. But I'm quite certain he was saying that with tongue very firmly planted in cheek.
He may not have been, because mustard is known very well to help people with cramps and very quickly. So he might use it. Yeah, it does. It's a preventative measure, I'm sure, for him. I know for me, when I get them, I go right for the mustard, and it actually acts pretty fast. I think it's the vinegar and the mustard that does it.
How about that? And Mark, have you ever heard of that? Mark's mic does not seem to. You got the mic button on. There we go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You know, you hear people talk about the mustard, especially before cramping or sometimes even during cramping. You got the whole pickle juice thing. I don't know. You know, Brian is a longtime athlete, competitive softball player, travels all over North America competing, and I wouldn't put him past him to do whatever he needs to give himself an edge.
Well, and Weinbach.
Barry Waddell with great hands there. So this is something that we can expect. I mentioned earlier that Dave Weinbach has really quick hands, very fast, good at defending against fastballs, and Barry Waddell is no slouch himself.
Yeah, it was actually in 2017 that Brian was here in the booth, and then it just was difficult for him to come back because he's always in the final. Was
it 2017? See, it's all merging together.
Is it?
It's hard to believe it's year 4 of the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. Bigger and better. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. It sold out in 3 hours, the spots to be in this tournament this year.
There's another example from Waddell.
You talk about the hands. Yeah, he's showing it off.
Yeah, so one of the things that these players do, and one of the reasons that they're so effective at this, is that they always assume that the ball coming at them is going to be hit hard. If you assume that the ball is going to be hit slowly, then you're in big trouble if the ball does come fast. So they'll assume the worst. They're going to assume that an offensive fast shot is coming, and they prepare to defend against it.
So now here we have the paddle tech battle against the engage battle. We've had Canada and the U.S. We've had Florida, Arizona. Now this is engage versus paddle tech.
There you go.
And I notice Barry is playing with the Badgers paddle.
I'm trying to hear what the score was. The scoreboard here at center court is at the moment not reflecting a score.
The score is 0-4.
0-4, there you go.
0-4-2 right now.
And there's a question about the age of senior. It is 50 plus. And it is getting really breezy in here. And the temperature is really dropping.
Right, so now the serve will change sides, 4-0-1, and we're...
So this is going to be interesting because Dave Weinbach, wearing the red hat, he almost always plays a third shot drop, a low, slow ball. You're going to see it there. Now that drop can be very difficult to play in windy conditions because it requires such great precision that if you're playing in ideal conditions where there's no wind or indoors, it's a lot easier to sort of measure up that speed and that height and that distance. But when things start to gust a little bit, I think you can make the argument that goes against the droppers. So we're going to see whether this wind that's coming in is going to affect how Dave plays, but he is rarely someone that plays a fast third shot.
5-0-1, yeah, he crossed Burr up with that last one, and that was long, so 5-0-2 now, as Weinbach will take over the serve.
Looks like a foot fault was called against Waddell by lineswoman Marcia Frezzo. There's that drop that sits up too high, and all of a sudden Waddell and Weinbach are on defense.
And we got referee Don Stanley that's with us. Don out of Tennessee. He is well known in the referee circuit. He's even got his certified referee number tattooed on his arm. So he gives a lot of his time teaching others how to be referees as well. Thank you, Don, for all that you do.
If there was ever a question whether pickleball players and the referees are committed, I think Don Stanley answers that question. He, by the way, is my go-to. Whenever I have a rules question or I get one to someone, there's a real nuanced or tricky question, Don is always the one I message, and I don't think he's ever not come up with a great answer.
Yeah, he'll research it.
Yeah, 061. You need to have that in your back pocket. I know calling NBA games, there's some officials I can go to as well. And you know what? The one thing, and I'm sure you guys see it, you think you've seen it all, and then you're at a match or you're at a game and something happens that you've never seen before. 062
well,
now.
And maybe Mark can touch on this a little bit because, you know, there's some comments out here about the serve and what seems to be people really getting away with what appear to be illegal serves. Mark, you want to talk a little bit about that? And
I just got distracted by Dave Weinbach's no-look dink there. Yeah, so, you know, there are three technical elements that have to be present when you're serving for it to be legal. One, you have to make contact below your waist, which is defined as your belly button. Two, you have to not have any part of the paddle be above your wrist when you make contact. It's got to be in line with your wrist or below. And third is the swing has to be moving on an upward arc. It can't be a level swing where you're going straight across, and you can't be swinging down. Now, I agree. I think it's fair to say that both Waddell and Weinbach sometimes are a little bit marginal on those, but marginal doesn't mean that you're crossing the line. And Don Stanley is such an experienced referee that I'd be willing to bet a lot that Don's not going to miss any of those.
How about this start here for Weinbach and Waddell? 8-0-1, a commanding lead. Burr and Staub decide it's time to use one of the timeouts to see if they can change momentum. 8-0, Weinbach and Waddell in control here in game number one and looking to extend their lead. As we get into a little bit of a dink game, didn't last for long, and Waddell unable to hang on to that from Staub as it goes sailing out, and they serve now will go over to Weinbach. Dave Weinbach trying to show some power.
Oh, here we go.
And Waddell unable to track that down. Great lob shot by Burr, put in a perfect spot.
Yeah, lobs are rare when you see them at a high level. They're incredibly risky. If you lob a little bit too short, the ball gets hit back very hard, and if you lob a little bit too far, the ball is out. So that was a risky play by Burr, but it paid off. We're going to see if he goes to that again as they try to claw their way out of this deficit.
Staub with the unforced error there as he tries to go to the backhand. Staub will tell you the backhand is the shot that he prefers to hit.
I know, and Scott's questioning his judgment there. Dave was just sitting ready for it. It's like in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, and now the serve goes back over to Weinbach and Waddell. 8-0-1. That's long out of Waddell, so 8-0-2 now. And the wind really is picking up as it is swirling, and we're told there may be some rain clouds in the vicinity.
There definitely are. I can actually see us surrounded by them right now. So
you can actually smell the rain in the air at this point.
And
it feels like a humidity hug. You know, it's all around us. The rain is hugging us in its embrace. I think right now Staub and Burr would be very happy if the rain comes. They'd appreciate
a little stoppage.
Yeah, at 9-0. We've been lucky dodging it all day.
Oh, what a return by Dave Weinbach.
So that's that example, right? Weinbach is so fast with his hands. He's expecting that ball to come fast at him. He sits on the backhand, and when it does come fast, he's right there and able to not just defend against it, but to actually accelerate and counterattack himself. Game point. Third shot drive from Weinbach. Don't expect those, but I guess he is up 10-0. He looks at Barry Waddell and says, Barry, that ball was sailing long. Why'd you hit it? Don't volley from the baseline, buddy.
Barry with a little chuckle. You can chuckle when you've got a 10-zip lead. 0-10-1.
Brian and Scott needing to get a point here. And there it is.
So 1-10-1. People are still chiming in on the feed and saying Dave is a senior.
Yes, Dave is a senior.
So now 1-10-2. Staub will take over the serve. We will have the bronze medal match.
Oh, and that was a nice poach by Scott Burr.
And this division coming up following this match for gold.
Yes, and that's going to feature Steve Dawson and Chris Mills versus Steve Kennedy and Scott Moore. It'll be an outstanding match. Folks want to see how all of these players got here today. They can go to pickleballtournaments.com and click on the U.S. Open.
Waddell, great decision to pull the paddle away and let that sail out of bounds. And now the serve will change sides, and Waddell a chance to close out game one.
And that is correct.
And there it is. Game one goes to Weinbach and Waddell, 11-2. Take another look at the game point.
Yeah, we see there, again, a bit of a mishit from Waddell. Staub looking to attack, but just a bit too low.
So timeout here on the Zing Zang Championship court. Back to Naples with game two in a moment. Pretty good attended event here in Naples, Florida, especially for a Wednesday afternoon, and the crowds are expected to only get bigger as we get closer and closer to the weekend. Dave Weinbach, what did he say to you?
A birthday girl. It's a birthday girl.
Yes, that's been well documented.
Yes, that was yesterday. And so speaking of birthdays, Kevin Dorsey is correct. You had asked this question earlier, Dave, as far as pickleball age. As soon as January 1 turns, whatever age you are going to be in that year, that's the age you're then eligible to play pickleball.
So game one, a commanding 11-2 decision in favor of Weinbach and Waddell. And an early 1-0 lead here for Burr and Staub as Waddell hits it out of bounds.
What do you think, Mark? I mean, it was 11-2. What do you think Scott and Brian need to do here to change the outcome of game two?
I think that they need to, frankly, they need to hope that that happens more often, that Waddell and Weinbach can't maintain their level. You know, Burr and Staub missed a few balls that they could have done something with, but really it was one because Waddell and Weinbach played so well, and so that's 2 errors in a row here from Weinbach and Waddell, and I think that's exactly what Burr and Staub are hoping for. They hope that they can weather the storm sufficiently that they can score some easy points early.
3-0-2, very quick start here. And game two for Burr and Staub. And now they will give up the serve.
Really like that return of serve from Staub, that low backhand slice. We're seeing this more and more from players, that the priority is a little bit less about the depth of the return and more about the height. If that ball stays down low, then it's not really drivable to any great extent, and especially if it's got some spin on it, Makes it much harder to hit a high-quality third shot.
Staub going to the dink game.
Like to see if Staub pulls an Ernie here, expecting it down the line.
I think he'd like a chance to go one-on-one with Barry is what it looks like.
Yeah.
How about Burr? Puts it away.
An Ernie, of course, for those who might be newer to pickleball, is when you position yourself right up near the net, but just outside of the sideline. So you can get as close as you want and reach over to the airspace of the non-volley zone, but you just can't be in it.
Well, that fired Scott up right then.
Sure did. That's one of the things I love about pickleball is the innovation with the rules and the fact that you can have an Ernie, the fact that you can have an around the post shot.
I think one of the things that we see, the evolution in pickleball, and the evolution in any sport really, is as you get more and more people coming in who are pushing the envelope, who are looking to compete better and better, it's when you see that experimentation and innovation. And, you know, if the rules don't say anything about it, then you can assume that it's legal.
People are always looking for loopholes.
Oh, Brian knew that he got that one up.
So Tom King asked about why not have the championships indoors. Well, Tom, this is a beautiful venue. There's not going to be very many indoor facilities where you can find 54 courts that can also accommodate all these fans. That's for one. And two is like lots of other sports, right? You could ask the same thing about why not always have the tennis championships indoors, or why not have soccer championships indoors?
Yeah, why do you play the French Open on clay instead of, I mean, you know, so many different.
Yeah, I mean, there are indoor sports. There are
Sure.
there's indoor pickleball tournaments, right? And those are its own thing. And so outdoor pickleball does have its own unique elements to it, and you need to adjust accordingly. But I think the conditions are a important part of the game and part of the puzzle that players need to solve.
Plus, you're not going to come all the way to Florida to go play indoors. Great exchange there. That'll fire up Waddell and Weinbach as they have climbed into a 3-3 tie now after trailing early.
Yeah, this is an example of the net helping out Waddell. That ball set up just a little bit high. And the chance to put it away.
Oh, and that one just didn't get out wide. Dave was trying to go around the post.
Sure was.
Didn't make it. Went into the post, not around it.
And you know Weinbach and Waddell would love to finish this thing off in 2 games. But they give back to serve now.
You know, the wind has died down a little bit. Chad Edwards mentioned earlier that maybe these clouds would split for us. It kind of feels like and looks like that could be happening. And that ball stays in.
Yeah, it sure does. Just barely. But it'll make it 4-3-1 in favor of Burr and Staub.
One of the other differences we're seeing in this match compared to the last one is the speed at which the serves are being hit. You can see that these players really aren't using the serve as much of an offensive opportunity as we saw in our last match. These players look more content to sort of hit the ball relatively deep, maybe get it towards the backhand, but not do a whole lot. And, you know, and it's sort of a different style that we're seeing from some of the players that are competing in the different age groups, different levels. You know, it's like we said, it's an evolution of the game, the way that the serve is being used.
So 4-3-2 after the unforced error by Staub.
Karen Pearson said she loves seeing the seniors. Hope you show some senior amateur matches. We have done that, and those are recorded and on the Pickleball Channel Facebook page, Karen.
That net in favor of Weinbach and Waddell is, had that not cut the net, that probably would have stayed in.
What happened there, Mark?
Looks like
side.
Staub was out of position when he was serving. It should have been Burr that was returning serve. It's a mental mistake and not one you want to give up when you're at such a close score in the second game.
So ties it up at 4 apiece.
We have smoke blowing.
We do. And it's not only blowing. It's, I don't know if it's visible on TV, but it is visible here to the naked eye that there is some smoke on the court. You can smell it.
We know yesterday my colleague Kate over at Third Shot Sports, we looked into this because we could smell the smoke as well. And it looks like Collier County which is where we are right now, is doing some
Controlled
controlled burns. And so with this wind that's coming through, I think that's what we're getting.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, and so Brian was trying to cause some confusion there, right?
A little bit, yeah. It looks like he's pretty happy, as you said, being in that pattern, that down the line dinking pattern with Barry Waddell. And that time he edged it over a little bit towards the middle of the court. Weinbach said, I want to get involved here too, and a bit of a miscommunication.
4-4-1 in game 2. Brian Staub already has 1 gold medal to his credit here at this year's Minto US Open Pickleball Championships. Trying to get a second, and Waddell with some other ideas.
Yes, he does. He's just got some really quick hands. I mean, folks have made some comments about his back, but who needs a back with hands like that?
It's not only the quickness of the hands, it's also the control of the hands. To be able to be so quick and control the paddle so well.
Yeah, definitely so.
And Waddell again. So the serve will come back over to Weinbach and Waddell, 4-4-1.
Well, Dave, I've just been heard that controlled burn we were talking
Was it barbecue?
about. It's a controlled barbecue burn. Now I'm hungry.
Well, they didn't bring us any.
No.
You got to earn it, Dave. You got to earn it.
And then someone on the live feed said the smoke is coming from Weinbach's paddle. That was Greg Smith. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so Don, it's the barbecue.
I mentioned Staub has already won a medal this week. That came in the gold 50-plus mixed bracket along with Cammie McGregor.
Yeah, they have become a force, the two of them.
Good look at Brian.
Again, we see that down the line pattern between Waddell and Staub. Burr patiently waiting for that ball that's elevated just a little bit.
Weinbach took that one away from Waddell, and now Dave controlling and hit into the net there by Burr.
And you can see what Dave's doing, right? Trying to keep them back.
Trying to keep them back, yeah. When you get a ball that you can't really attack, your opponents can't do a lot of damage from behind the baseline. Also, pay attention to how much court Weinbach is covering. Look how far over he goes here to take that ball. Really, the only ball that Waddell's going to have to hit as a dink is going to be a forehand, which is his strength. Anything that's anywhere towards the middle or towards Waddell's backhand, Weinbach's going to come across and going to intercept and take care of business.
And I don't know that these guys have ever played a match together in a pro event. And so it just goes to at least show Dave quickly assessing the strengths and weaknesses of his partner and how to put a strategy together on the court.
Yeah, I mean, Barry's no slouch, don't get me wrong, but Weinbach is such a decorated player, has such a reputation. You know, someone who's so steady and has been in these big pressure situations frequently. So this would be a plan that they would have had going into the match.
So up until the injury to Waddell's original partner coming into the tournament, and when they made the decision yesterday, did Dave have no... That was a heck of a point. A well-deserved woo there out of Melissa McCurley.
I'm sorry.
No,
that was
appropriate.
Yeah, it was a good point. Look at this lob here. Weinbach showing great athleticism to hit the overhead with his backhand, and Burr's there to put it away. So forces a timeout, and I think that's more about getting rest rather than anything.
Well, I'll save my question from Melissa McCurley for the other side of this timeout. A 7-4 lead for Burr Staub here in game number 2. Beautiful Naples, Florida. There are some nice residences along the Florida Gulf Coast, that is for sure. And we are midway through this gold medal match of the men's senior pro division. Burr and Staub looking to try and even this thing up at a game apiece. And their lead here in game number 2 just grew to 8-4. Brian Staub, who was a long-time UPS delivery man.
Yes.
following his days playing college tennis, and found his way into pickleball when his parents actually relocated down to Florida, and it was the first time he'd been introduced to it. Fell in love with it very quickly.
His son Matt also plays. Matt was with us earlier. I don't know if he's still with us now.
Brian hits that one long.
Brian Staub was actually there for my very first pickleball tournament in Canada. And after we played, he gave us a little spanking, but after we played, he was very encouraging, invited me to come down to play the U.S. Nationals, and nothing but good memories with Brian in the pickleball world.
4-8-1 with Weinbach and Waddell on the serve right now.
So you had a question, Dave?
My question was going to be, did Dave Weinbach not intend on playing in this bracket when he first got on a plane headed to Naples?
He didn't, but as a registered player in the tournament, eligible to play in this event, Barry picked him up as a replacement.
Dave Weinbach not liking that call. It looked in to me. Let's take another look.
It was in.
I'm not sure what Dave was seeing. He's looking over to us. He says, okay.
It was.
That was no controversy there. Obviously, Dave just did not have a good look at it. I don't know where the ball ended up. Is it possibly underneath our table?
Is it underneath our table? Nope, it's not here.
The ball has disappeared. Spectators are pointing towards our direction.
It's underneath the chair, under the beach chair of the line judge there.
There you go.
Yeah, but on that replay, and I'm sure everyone else could see it too, it was clearly in. You could still see blue.
So 5-8-2.
So Matt Staub is here. Glad you're here, Matt. Watch your dad play. Great guy, great player.
Make it 6-8-2. Weinbach and Waddell closing the gap here.
5-8-2.
No, staying at 5-8-2. Excuse me.
Look at Weinbach moving, trying to distract Staub.
Yeah.
As he's hitting this ball, trying to bait him down the line.
Yeah, and
that ball's called just out. It worked.
Yeah, I guess it did. Hope we get another look too.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that there'll be some players, some observers out there who think that kind of movement, which is clearly about distracting the opponent.
Chad Schomburg saying, make us Badger fans proud, Weinbach. He is a proud native of Wisconsin. And it's now 7-8-2. Had a chance to, Dave came over and spoke to us earlier today and seemed very relaxed. He's very happy about his Milwaukee Bucks, who are now knotted up at a game apiece in their series with the Celtics.
I expect a timeout coming up here soon.
Tied up now at 8 apiece, 8-8-2.
Yeah, for those watching, this would be a great time for Scott and Brian to take a timeout. They've had the momentum. They've been doing really well. The momentum has shifted a bit.
I suspect if they didn't win that point,
yeah,
that would be it. But right now, they're sort of holding on.
And you get a feeling this is a key moment here because they really need to take control, take advantage of this serve. You don't want to give it back to Weinbach and Waddell with a chance to try and win this game and win the match.
No, but what a match for the fans to watch here. And the stadium is full. It's been full all week.
That's a great spot that Weinbach placed that ball. Fast. We talked about the danger of hitting right at the opponent's body because then that backhand is prepared. But going low on that forehand side is a really difficult spot to defend against.
8-8-2.
Really working Waddell here, hoping for something high. There it is. But he hangs tough. And he knows that was an important point for him to hang in there.
Yeah, good decision to let it go.
And hang in there is right, Mark. That was not a bad shot from Scott Burr.
These guys are so good, not just at defending against fastballs, but knowing when to let them go out. And there was something I mentioned, Barry and I played a little bit the other day, and times that I hit balls that I thought, oh yeah, he'll go fishing for this one. Just let them go out, and you see he's really fired up here.
He really is, and he's excellent with that backhand, keeping it in a downward motion.
And a great decision again to let it go. They are 2 points away from gold.
Yeah, and that really, what about a timeout now? They're talking about it.
I think they're thinking about it. I think they think if they lose one more, they're going to call it.
Okay.
5-8-1.
So Brian's staying with the strategy. I like it.
And here we are, a point away from the championship. Yeah, Barry's been very tough there. Scott Burr started covering down the line, going in the wrong direction. Here comes the timeout. Probably going to wait till just
he's not going to do it.
Well, they're going to let him go.
I'm really surprised.
And there it is. And the celebration out of Dave Weinbach and Barry Waddell as they win it straight games, 11-2, 11-8.
Yeah, this was, you know what? I think that that emotion you're seeing from Waddell, he deserves it. He really won this. He played most of the balls. They were picking on him, and he stood up to the pressure, and he should be very proud of himself.
Barry Waddell taking home a gold. He's fired up. Dave Weinbach, who wasn't even originally going to play in this bracket, picking up a gold. And his first gold in the senior division. We will take a break and hear from the winners. Stay with us.
We got Joe Parisi once again. Thank you for all your sponsorship. Volvo Cars of Naples. Everybody say thanks to the sponsors, and particularly these guys here. And Joe, we are proud to present the Senior Pro Double Silver medalists, Scott Burr and Brian Staub. Come on out, guys.
Good job, guys. Wonderful.
All right, we got your medals here. Congratulations, guys. Brian's used to the Florida heat. Scott's coming from the desert on the other coast. But you guys are on the medal stand. So congratulations, you guys. I know you're hot. Thanks for your playing. You're tired. You want to rest. Everybody, one more round of applause for our silver medalists. You guys here, let's take a quick photo. All right, another round of applause for our silver medalists.
Thanks.
And here we go, our gold medal champions, the men's senior pro, Dave Weinbach and Barry Waddell. Come on out, guys. Big high five.
Come on, good job.
There you go. Joe's been meeting and greeting lots of medalists here, so let's give them their gold medals, Joe.
I'd love to.
Where's the Volvo car, Joe? Where's the Volvo car?
There's two outside and there's one in the driveway waiting for you.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let's give this one to Dave Weinbach first. Here we go, David.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, great job today.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
And here's another little envelope for you.
Oh, another check.
All right.
All right.
Check. Here's another hat.
Oh, another hat.
And the Head Sweats Champions hat.
And some shoes. It's a bonus.
And you do. And then the head tennis shoes there, the pickleball shoes.
Love it. Love it.
And we got your medal too, Barry. Come on over here.
Thank you.
It gives me great honor to give this to you, Barry.
Thank you,
great
Joe.
Great job, man. I'm so
Thank
proud
you,
of
Joe.
Come here.
Thank you.
Great job. Let's get what we got to do this. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And we also got a check for you. Your Head Sweats Champions hat
Thank you.
Pair
You
of
put it
shoes
on your
for you.
hat?
and the head shoes.
Here's the hat. Let's put this on.
No, yeah?
We're going to get some thoughts, but let's give another big round of applause for our gold medalists here, our champions.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so this is a big day for you. Dave, this is your very first pro senior bracket. So how'd that go? I mean, the first game, you guys went through. Second game, you're fighting some harder. What's this mean to you to be here again?
We knew, Rusty, that when we looked at the bracket this morning, that this was going to be a battle. And Barry and I knew we'd have at least 3 really tough matches. And I don't care if it's senior, pro, or men's, or whatever. You got to come out here. You got to compete. And you got to play hard. This guy is a warrior. I had so much fun today. And as you know, there's not a better stage in pickleball than this court. This is my favorite place, as you know, on earth to play. The energy, the electricity around here is second to none.
It's fantastic. And last year, Dave and I were even calling a game that you were in.
Yes.
Your intensity, your play. So this year, instead of him being there, he's your partner, and here you are with a gold.
Yes.
What are you thinking right now?
Well, I mean, it's a dream come true. About 2.5 years ago, I decided to go outdoor and really get serious with my pickleball game, and it was completely different, but I enjoyed it. Actually, I was cramping in the medical tent for 2.5 hours before here, and then on the first game, I pulled a muscle, and I was like, just hold on, and he carried me through, and it's just exhilarating. Really exhilarating.
Well, congratulations. You guys, it's really exciting to see. So again, get into that second game, right? So game one went through pretty quick. What had to change in order to close that thing out?
We knew in game 2, Rusty, that they were going to step it up a notch. And, you know, we kept saying to ourselves, don't step off the gas. Keep them down. We really wanted to win this in 2 games. I knew my partner was hurting a little bit with his muscle. And I just, in my mind, I felt I was going to do whatever it took to make sure we won this match in 2 games. And, you know, Scott and Brian played really well in that second game, and they pushed us hard. And what a match that the folks got to see live and on the video. So thanks for covering it, Rusty.
Yeah, we are happy to be here. Barry, you're known for your intensity. You're out there, and sometimes you get really fired up. Yes. Do you remember like a switch or a mental switch in that second game?
I think one backhand that I hit through the middle, I was like, that's it. That's a start of something great. And we just carried that momentum through. And, you know, today it was the pickleball gods were with us. And, you know, the soft game was good. The power game was good. And we just came on top.
Well, thank you guys again. Congratulations to our gold medalists. One more round of applause.